Hey, what's up everyone? This is K Collections, and this will be part 2 of the America Banner Summary, where I break down the new 4-star Saber Rama and the new 4-star caster Helena. I'll give a general overview as always, some recommendations, and whether or not they'll be worth investing our precious sync quartz on. Just to let you know, part 3 of the summary is in the works, so look forward to that breakdown where I talk about the 3-star servants. So let's get started. Starting with Rama's attack cards, he has 1 quick, 2 arts, 2 buster, and then buster noble phantasm, which means you can buster brave change, so that's always good right there. I love the consistency in terms of attack cards. For the hit counts, quick and arts does 2 hits, which is a bit limiting in terms of NP gain. Buster does 1 hit, extra does 4 hits, and his NP does 5 hits. Now let's talk about his active skills, starting with Warrior's Blessing. This actually is Rama's strongest skill and the reason why he can deal massive amounts of damage. So it's best to max this skill out immediately. There's 2 effects in the skill. 1, it increases his star absorption, and 2, it increases his crit strength, both lasting 1 turn. Higher the skill level means the effects are stronger, but most importantly, you maxing out the skill means it will only have a 4-turn cooldown, therefore allowing you to use this a bit more often. If you haven't already, check out some YouTube videos on Rama's crit damage output, it's insane. He also has a charisma skill that lasts for 3 turns, very simple but very effective. This means you can buff allies whenever you need, but most importantly, buffing himself if you ever decide to perform a massive attack with Rama, so I love the synergy with the skills. His 3rd skill applies gut status for 3 turns, reviving him once if he's defeated. It also recovers some of his health as a secondary effect. Of course, higher the level means higher the recovery, meaning he has a higher chance for survival if he were to be attacked again after revival. Again, a very simple skill but an excellent one. You can never go wrong with the gut skill. This really helps him in terms of the survivability department. So, moving on to his passive skills now, he has Magic Resistance A, which increases debuff resistance by 20%, Riding A+, which increases quick card's performance by 11%. Sadly, he only has 1 quick card, so this skill won't be fully utilized. Lastly, he has a Divinity A, which applies damage plus 200. Now for his Noble Phantasm, this is a single target NP that deals damage to the enemy, but deals extra damage to demonic enemies, aka magical enemies if you're using FGO Wiki. Here is just a list of the servants and enemies within this category. There isn't a whole lot of variety, but we've seen these enemies enough times for this NP to be quite effective. We fought many demons, skeletons, ghosts, etc, so it's good to know that this NP overcharge can be utilized quite often. Overall, his Noble Phantasm isn't anything complicated, it can be effective, and being a buster single target, it fits very well with Rama's combat style, especially if you can buster Brave Chain after activating his first 2 skills with a significant amount of stars, of course. So, my final thoughts on Rama, I actually do recommend him if you are after a single target boss killer. If you're after a saber farmer or a multi-purpose saber, then you should probably save your sync quartz. Rama's main focus is gathering as much stars as he can to deal massive crit damage for the turn, killing whomever your target is. Thankfully, with charisma, he can help the team with buffing attacks, but aside from that, he is your main attacker. Not to mention being able to bust a Brave Chain with his single target Noble Phantasm just solidifies him being an excellent boss damage dealer. Thankfully, his key skill, though only lasting 1 turn, has a low skill cooldown. Maxing out Warrior's Blessing should be your main priority, so you can use this skill every 4 turns or so. This means you should be able to deal massive crit damage quite consistently, just use this skill wisely. Before performing a Buster or Brave Chain with Rama, that would be the most ideal time to activate this skill. Of course, you do need the necessary stars first. And if you activate Charisma with any other attack buffs, GG. Now I said Rama is an excellent crit damage dealer and everything, but you actually do need stars to be effective. Sadly, Rama is a poor star generator due to his 1 quick card and low hit counts, meaning you must have a strong star generator in your team, otherwise you're severely limiting Rama's potential. His NP gain isn't the best either, so having a support CE or a support servant can help him with that, but your main priority must be generating stars for him. Everything else can wait. Lastly, his gut skill also greatly helps him with survivability, so you don't have to worry if he'll survive an enemy's MP or not, since he'll just revive himself. it also recovers his HP decently as well, so that's always a plus in my book. So for team compositions, your main priority, like I said, are star generators. So Okita, Hassan, MHX are great. There are many other options as well. I personally like Jack the Ripper because she is one of the best, obviously, right? You can also use her skill to heal Rama if necessary. Since Rama is your main attacker, having a support servant can really help, especially one who can buffs attack. Waver is great for obvious reasons. Nightingale is also good support too. I actually recommend Leonidas as well. After completing his strengthening quest, he'll be able to buff your team's buster performance. He also has 3 buster cards including his NP, so he can buster chain. Not only that, Leonidas can protect Rama with his target focus and eliminate any archers that may pose a threat to Rama. CE recommendations, I highly recommend Victor of the Moon. For Rama, this is a great combination between buster and crit strength. Limited 0 over if you want to focus more on the buster side, and 20-30 if you think you're going to need a bit more crit stars. There are many other combinations, these are just a few that you can work. So that's just a brief analysis of Rama. Now let's move on to Helena. For attack cards, she has 1 quick, 3 arts, 1 buster with the arts NP. Arts Brave Chain is of course an option. For hit counts, quick does 6 hits, arts does 3, buster does 1, extra and NP does 3. Looking at her active skills, Mana Tuning increases all allies NP gauge anywhere from 10% to 20% depending on the skill level. It's actually a good skill, especially if you have a non-limit broken Kaleidoscope and this skill maxed out. That will mean you can first turn NP with your servants. Great for farming. The downside, however, is that its cooldown is quite long. Her second skill gives you 5 crit stars for 5 turns while having a chance to increase her NP strength by 50%, which lasts 1 turn. Typically you want to use this skill before her NP, but because it relies on chance, you can't really depend on it. So using this skill just to gain crit stars isn't a bad idea either. Sadly, due to the long cooldown, don't expect to use this skill repeatedly. Her final skill, Pursuit of the Unknown, boosts your team's effectiveness of all 3 attack types for 3 turns. It's a good skill and can really help diversify your team. I personally would not recommend constructing a team that's all over the place in terms of attack cards. It really helps if you concentrate on 2 out of the 3 types for better consistency. Meaning, create a team that's concentrated on, let's say, arts and quick for example. That way you have a clear focus and every servant will have at least 1 buster card anyways, so that could still work. Or a quick buster could be your focus. Just don't go crazy and try to include all 3 attack types. That can lead to an inconsistent attack deck. Also, know that since Helena is more arts focused, it may be best to construct a team that's more arts based in combination to one other type, whether it be quick or buster. Now for her passive skills, Territory Creation A increases arts effectiveness by 10%, and having 4 arts card in total is very good for her, and her second passive increases debuff success by 8%. Moving on to her Noble Phantasm now. Her NP is an AoE that attacks enemies. It also decreases defense, crit hit rate, and debuff resistance for 3 turns. Post interlude, her NP will also ignore enemies' defense. Overall, it's a solid NP that can give you an advantage in a fight due to all the debuffs. Combine this with her 2 buff skills, Helena can do decent damage. Just remember, the buff from her second skill can miss, so don't over rely on it. And understand that she isn't meant to be your main attacker. What you should rely on are the debuffs that her NP does. It's best to have a higher overcharge for better effectiveness. Clearly, decreasing defense can help you deal more damage, while decreasing your enemy's crit chance can really help you survive. If you want to prioritize debuffing, this NP can also help in that category as well. So, my final thoughts on Helena. She's a good multi-purpose support servant, and if you need a AoE caster, she can help in that area, but if you're not after any other servants or craft essence in this banner, then I'd say you can skip her. Now, I'm not saying she's a bad servant. All her skills are very versatile and helpful, along with her NP of course. The biggest issue is the long skill cooldowns that comes with her skills of course, and if you don't level up her skills, then it can be a bit lackluster. So in my perspective, feel free to disagree with me, but to be a dependable support servant, the skills involved must be used consistently in order to be reliable. In comparison to other support servants, Helena may not be the best, especially for tough battles due to the skill cooldowns as mentioned. Again, not saying she's bad, but there are better alternatives, there are better options. Now, if you absolutely love this servant, then I definitely encourage you to pull for her, right? She's worth the investment because honestly, we play this game to have fun. But, you know, from a playability standpoint, she is good, but ultimately, I cannot say, right, again, this is my perspective, I can't say she's worth spending money on. And as we all know, St. Quartz is basically money. She is good for quick battles because her skills itself are very useful. If you max out her first skill, a 20% MP charge with Kaleidoscope can definitely help in farming if you don't have Waver. She has a mini 20-30 skill and a solid buffing skill. Now, if you do want to use her in tough battles, she can be good as a substitute supporter, meaning if your main supporter dies, then she's a great backup. Or you can switch to her with Mystic Code near the end of the battle to give a final support boost. For team builds, Helena can actually fit with most parties, but ideally an arch team would be most effective. Tamamo is an amazing servant with Helena for obvious reasons. You can arch chain frequently, increase MP gain while healing, use Fox Wedding to buff arch performance in combination with Pursuit of the Unknown. Most importantly, reduce the skill cooldown for Helena. You will need a main attacker within your team, so Vlad being arch focused can fit very well with Helena. You can arch chain their NPs together, and since Helena's NP will reduce enemies' defense, Vlad's NP can hurt even more. The buffs from her will help, and she can help Vlad with his NP gain a bit as well. CE recommendations, Formal Craft is great for her for, again, obvious reasons. If you want to focus more on star generation, then 2030 is great as well, especially when combined with her second skill. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. Like I said, I'll be making part 3 of this banner summary, so look forward to that. If you want, follow me on Twitter. Link is in the description. Best of luck to all players planning to pull on this banner, and have an awesome day, everyone.